Right, time now for Media Watch, and James Creedon joins me in the studio. Good to see you, James.
Likewise.
Now, you're starting with a tweet from new French President Emmanuel Macron showing him hard at work with his new Prime Minister.
That's right. He hasn't been tweeting that much since he got into office, and the tweets are very sort of neutral, so he's not certainly taking any inspiration from another president on the other side of the Atlantic. Very sober tweets. You can see here, this is a photo of him along with Edouard Philippe, his Conservative Prime Minister, so a Prime Minister from across party lines, and a unity government and a government of renewal. And you can see them there around a table. Now, one can imagine that the decisions had already been taken and that this was a bit of a PR moment, but maybe I'm being a cynic. In any case, let's take a look at some of the other headlines. This is Sylvie Goulard, who is an MEP. Now, she was one of the first to break away from the, I suppose, mainstream parties to support Emmanuel Macron's newly launched movement when he started En Marche, and many thought that she was going to be the next Prime Minister. And because he had said he wanted, an equal number of men and women in the cabinet, an equal number of career politicians and people drawn from civil society in the cabinet, a lot of people thought that with all of this talk that perhaps it would be somebody like Sylvie Goulard as Prime Minister.
Because he tweeted that he was going to nominate a female Prime Minister if he was elected. A promise that he didn't keep.
That's right. Now, that is one of the factors that has been getting some criticism online. You can see here this GIF showing a degree of confusion, I suppose. It's often dug out, that particular one, to show confusion. And the headline there is only one of the major ministries given to a woman. So even if you look down the different what would you say? Portfolios, exactly. It is kind of 50-50, but actually the major ministries still went to men. So you do have tweets such as this saying, promises not kept. And this was another issue regarding, I suppose, equality of the sexes. Emmanuel Macron had promised that there would be a ministry for women's rights. Now, that ministry didn't get through, I suppose, the choice of what ministries would be put out there. Now, François Bayrou, he was, I suppose, the veteran centrist politician. He got one of the ministries as well because of his support for Emmanuel Macron. He became a justice minister. And so this image was drawn out. Now, this is a famous image of François Bayrou slapping a guy in the face. Now, what looks like quite a brutal moment is perhaps best put into context because that kid had actually just pickpocketed François Bayrou. And I guess he took the law into his own hands that particular day. Now he's Justice Minister, so probably better not take the law into his own hands anymore. Now, others saying with 8 ministers over 60 years of age, all of this talk of renewal is perhaps a little bit excessive, and some even expressing disappointment that there aren't more, I suppose, new faces or fresh faces amongst the major ministers. A number of ministers as well drawn from the political right in a bid to have a unity government, but that means that, for example, some emblematic laws brought in by François Hollande, such as same-sex marriage legislation, that was voted against by many of the ministers, or by some of the ministers who are now in this unity government. And today is in fact the International Day against homophobia or LGBT phobia. So some saying, well, you have now ministers in this government who voted against same-sex marriage, and today is the International Day against homophobia. So some expressing some reservations or concern about that. Others saying, look, that's what you get in a unity government. Only 2 right-wing MPs voted for gay marriage at the time.
Okay, moving on to a change of guard for the anchor of the 8 p.m. news on France 2. After 16 years, a new face is to host the main evening news.
David Pujadas, who hosted some of the main presidential debates, for example. He is a veteran news anchor, one of the best-known faces in France, in French TV news in any case, and he has been asked by the head of France Télévisions, Delphine Ernotte, to stand to one side. Now, that has created a minor, I suppose, scandal, you could say. Some saying, is this related to the fact that Emmanuel Macron has now been voted in as president? Is it due to the fact that he's a young president, just 39 years old? Is this a desire to have fresher faces, younger faces now anchoring the news when you have such a kind of young president and a young cabinet? And there is this image at one of the TV debates of the head of France Télévisions, Delphine Ernotte, giving the bisou or the kiss on each cheek to Brigitte Macron, many saying that showed excessive proximity with the now powers that be. Interestingly, David Pujadas was saluted on Twitter by this now retired veteran news anchor Patrick Poivre d'Arvor, who on Twitter said, a little thought for you at this time when pages are being turned over. In fact, he had to stand down as the anchor of the TF1 evening news shortly after Nicolas Sarkozy became president, some saying that it was related to the fact that Nicolas Sarkozy didn't have a huge amount of affection for him.
So he's been in the same boat then. Finally, a controversial new luxury product by Chanel has been causing a stir on social media.
That's right. Get a look at this, Rochelle.
I've seen this,
it's a Chanel boomerang, which will cost you, I think it's over €2,000, depending on the currency that you're purchasing it in, if you want to purchase it. And this particular US-based singer slash makeup artist slash lots of other things by the name of Jeffree Star decided that this was a great little purchase, or else he got it for free, I don't know. But in any case, it's part of a kind of a range of luxury sports items that Chanel has been rolling out. For example, tennis rackets at €1,450 if you want to pay that much for a tennis racket, or beach ball rackets. That set comes at €3,170. You have tennis balls as well for about €370. In any case, a lot of people really found the fact that a boomerang associated with the Aboriginal community in Australia, that it was just a little bit distasteful. You can see this tweet here saying, "Only Chanel will condone cultural appropriation. I'm so disgusted that Chanel has made a boomerang worth $2,000. And that was actually a tweet by this lady based in Brisbane, Australia.
My hometown.
There you go. I just thought of that. Pure coincidence. In any case, she felt that it was inappropriate. A lot of others felt it was inappropriate too. And some even joking about it online, saying that we're not, what next? Cuneiform script, Chanel sort of blocks. That was the original script invented by the Sumerians. I don't think Chanel have that on offer just yet.
Just yet. OK, James, thank you so much for that. James Creedon there with Media Watch. Well, stay with us here on France 24. Live from Paris is back in a few minutes. More news coming up.